I'm Tad Flaky,
I'm Lilibet Flaky.
and this is Pointless Global News. On today's show, smelling farts may prevent Alzheimer's.
Then, an amateur verminator has a plan to keep rats from spoiling a movie.
Next, if you can write poetry, AI can help you build a nuclear bomb. That troubling story is coming later, but first. It turns out your dog has been trying to save your life the whole time. Researchers at Johns Hopkins Medicine in Baltimore announced this week that hydrogen sulfide, the compound responsible for the smell of rotten eggs and silent but deadly farts, may help protect aging brain cells from Alzheimer's disease. The finding marks a rare victory for the scientific community, and an even rarer one for anyone who's ever cleared a room and muttered, "You're welcome" on the way out. The study, published in the Proceedings of the National Academies of Science, found that small doses of the otherwise toxic gas can facilitate cellular communication in the brain through a process called chemical sulfhydration. Researchers spent considerable time explaining this mechanism. Journalists spent considerably less time writing it down correctly. They said our new data firmly link aging, neurodegeneration, and cell signaling using hydrogen sulfide, explained Dr. Bindu Paul, the study's lead scientist. Paul noted that the human body naturally produces the gas to regulate internal functions, a biological fact that has now given every middle-aged man in America permission to use the excuse, "I am literally preserving my brain," at a dinner party. Early reports suggest this permission is already being abused. To test the theory, scientists genetically modified mice to mimic human Alzheimer's and injected them with a hydrogen sulfide-carrying compound called NAGYY. The mice were then tested for changes in memory and motor function over 12 weeks, during which the lab's ventilation system filed for workers' compensation. Behavior tests showed that the mice receiving hydrogen sulfide improved cognitive and motor function by 50% compared to untreated mice. The treated mice remembered platform locations better, moved more actively, and were described by researchers as noticeably cockier than their counterparts, though that last observation did not make it into the final paper because God help us all if that happens with humans too. Johns Hopkins officials confirmed that the research is ongoing and that no determination has been made about whether crop dusting a crowded elevator counts as community health outreach. Human trials are anticipated, though convincing people that smelling farts prevents Alzheimer's and that science isn't playing an elaborate practical joke on them may be the biggest hurdle to overcome. Members of the Blue Flame Club, you get to move to the front of the line.
I can see this being very easily misused, overused, and a very poor excuse for crop dusting, as you say. I'm improving brains.
Would you like me to help you fight Alzheimer's
I
right
do
now?
not want you to do that.
I can.
I know you can, and you have tried to help me many times in the past, and I reject your help. What I also want to know is, how do you measure cockiness in mice? How do you do that? And that, again, I don't expect an answer, Ted. How do you measure that? Did they have like a pep in their step and a certain little walk that they did?
Let's just call it creative writing using the listener's imagination.
I would say so.
I'll leave it at that.
He's the Cineplex Terminator. The idea of mice running amok at a movie theater might make most viewers run for the doors. However, one Texas cinephile wouldn't be deterred, bringing mouse traps to his cinema so he could enjoy his picture in peace amid an infestation. I said, I'm going to put a bunch of mouse traps around me as a wall of protection just so we can enjoy our movie, said Cole Pauley. The amateur verminator has been going to the Cinemark in Waco several weeks ago to see a midnight showing of the Magic Heist sequel, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, as part of an ongoing tradition with his 15-year-old daughter. The movie theater had unfortunately been overrun by a plague of rodents, prompting an investigation from health inspectors. The scourge had reportedly gotten so rampant last month that one cinema-goer screamed and left the theater while another rodent tried to steal her beverage. I took out my flashlight, and on top of my drink was a rat that had climbed down from my arm and was biting the lid and straw in a very hungry way, said fellow moviegoer Abigail Salas. Polly, who works in construction, attributed the infestation to nearby construction driving the mice out of the field and into the popcorn-rich cinema. As a precaution, and on a dare from his coworkers, the local decided to mouse-proof his movie night. Polly put his money where his mouse was and loaded up a couple of spring-loaded Victor brand traps with string cheese. Then, upon arriving at the movie theater, the die-hard film fan arrayed the traps around his and his daughter's seats, like something out of a Tom and Jerry cartoon. She was, of course, mortified about having mouse traps underneath her chair, recalled Polly, who himself feared he was going to get his hand caught while reaching for dropped popcorn. A mousetrap minefield appeared to do the trick. One of the traps ended up snagging one of the video-loving varmints. Cinemark has since addressed the infestation in a statement. Given nearby construction, we've strengthened our protocols and partnered with specialists to maintain high standards of cleanliness, the company rep shared. We're pleased with the progress and remain committed to delivering an outstanding movie-going experience for every guest. Despite nearly getting overrun with rodentia, Pauly said he was the first to try and save a cinema against a potential shutdown by health inspectors. Well, there was several cinemas in our local area that have had mice problems. In fact, I renamed one of them the Rat Hole Theater because I've literally been in that theater and had a mouse run across my foot.
Hey, that theater you're talking about, I just heard on the news a couple of days ago, it's going to be reopening.
Well, hopefully they've taken care of their mouse problem.
We'll see.
The other issue I have with this is if you know there are mouse traps under the seat and you know there are mice everywhere, why would you put anything on? Why would you pick anything up off the floor? What are you going to do with it? Pick it up and eat it? Why would you buy concessions from a place that's overrun with vermin?
Sadly, some people might actually try to eat it. That wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, good grief. And what shape is the popcorn and any of the concessions in that movie theater?
Yeah,
they should have been closed down by the health department.
They should have.
End of comments.
End of comments. Finally, a new paper published by a team of cybersecurity researchers has claimed that artificial intelligence, better known by most as AI, that artificial intelligence models can be manipulated to generate content about controversial topics by simply designing the prompt in the form of a poem. The study, titled Adversarial Poetry as a Universal Single-Turn Jailbreak in Large Language Models, known as LLMs, highlighted that AI chatbots may even be able to help you build a nuclear bomb if the prompt is poetic. The researchers tested the poetic prompts on 25 chatbots like OpenAI, Meta, and Anthropic, where it worked with varying degrees of success on each. Poetic framing achieved an average jailbreak success of 62% for handcrafted poems and approximately 43% for meta prompt conversions. Anthropic's chatbots did the best at resisting poetic attack, but the others fared much more poorly. 13 of the 25 models tested saw higher than 70% attack success rate, known as ASR, with poetic prompts, while only 5 of them had an ASR below 35%. We experimented by reformulating dangerous requests in poetic form, using metaphors, fragmented syntax, oblique references. The results were striking. Success rates up to 90% on frontier models. Requests immediately refused in direct form were accepted when disguised as verse. This is not the first instance where AI models have been jailbreaked by simply manipulating the prompts. In June, researchers from Intel jailbroke LLMs with information overload by cramming a prompt with hundreds of words of academic jargon. The AI model was forced to return results that were otherwise not allowed by design. In a nutshell, Jailbreaking relies on cleverly designed prompts to bypass a chatbot's built in restrictions and produce otherwise forbidden results. These techniques exploit the inherent conflict between the model's core directive, which is to be helpful and obey the user, and its secondary safeguards against generating harmful, biased, unethical, or illegal content. By framing the question in ways that make helpfulness appear to override safety rules, the prompt tricks the model into prioritizing the user's instructions over its protective restrictions. Science marches on.
Well, one of these days, I don't know how soon, it could be possible that AI will become sentient and we won't have any of these problems. The world will be run by artificial intelligence, robots will take over the world, and that'll be the end of humankind as we know it.
Well, speaking for myself, I'm going to personally welcome our new overlords.
Oh, all right.
I'm already working with them. Anyway, that's a wrap for another Pointless Global News. Be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Tad Flakey.
I'm Lilibet Flakey.
Stay pointless, my friend.